Ladies and gentlemen, here's our review of Wonder of the Seas, the largest cruise ship in the universe. We're going to talk about the ship itself. We'll do a floor tour and our basic overview of what we thought of Royal Caribbean's latest and greatest cruise ship. Stick around, this will be fun, I promise. Hi, Tim and Felicia from Cruise Reviews. We're here above. Where are we?
We are approaching Nassau.
Just above Nassau on Wonder of the Seas. This is Royal Caribbean's oldest ship?
No, this is Royal Caribbean's
most broken
newest ship, biggest ship in the world.
So if you could summarize this cruise so far, this inaugural cruise, in one sentence, what would it be?
It's fabulous.
Mine would be a comedy of errors. Because she always sees the brighter side. I told the truth. That's the difference between us.
Oh, snap.
But, all right, so let's start with the ship itself. What do you think?
I love the ship. It's beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Different than other Oasis-class ships you've sailed on?
Similar, but different. Yeah.
What do you think the biggest improvement is?
Ooh, gosh, I don't know.
I think the Solarium.
The Solarium is very nice.
It feels cooler. I think it's a little bit more organized. I like the layout of it. I think the bistro's changed a little bit too, but I don't remember.
I like the layout of the Windjammer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's changed too.
It's changed. It's just more spacious feeling.
How about the restaurants? What are you thinking about the restaurants here?
Well, we've gone to Izumi's, Playmakers, Windjammer, and Wonderland.
Yeah.
And so far, everything's been great. Wonderland is a wonderful experience.
We're going to Hooked tonight.
Not Hooked.
And we'll show some video on our overview of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Some of the places we've been to. We avoid the main dining room. Everyone's done the main dining room. We almost avoided Izumi again because everyone's pretty much done that.
But it was so good.
Because we did so for lunch, and there's a significant savings for lunch, so that's good. How about the drink package?
We have used the drink package very well.
Yeah.
It was a good investment.
Yeah. We actually did a video on testing the limits of the drink package, which will be on this channel if it's not here already. How about your room? What do you think about your room?
I think the room is wonderful. We have a grand suite. I think that maybe we were slightly misled with the layout of the room before we got here, but the room is really nice. It's plenty big enough for a family of four. We're just two, but there are some things missing.
Like what?
Let's see. So there's no magnification mirror in the bathroom.
That was a biggie, huh?
Ladies, bring one with you.
Yeah.
What else? There's no outlets in the bathroom.
For your hair dryer?
For your hair dryer.
You have to do your hair out here?
You have to do your hair out in the vanity area, which is fine. What else? Now I'm drawing a blank.
There's actually a lack of an outlet on the second desk, too.
There
where
is.
The TV is. So
there is.
If you want to split it, if you want to have the ladies on the left and the guy on the right with his laptop, where there's really nowhere to plug anything in on the right side.
You know what?
That's kind of an iffy.
I mean, those are just small things that you can
Yeah.
kind of work through. I think that one of the biggest issues with the room has to be the shower.
Yeah.
Right? So the shower there's a shower curtain and there's
It's more like a spa.
It's a half glass door shower. And the door doesn't close all the way to the tub. So when you're taking a shower, even with the shower head pointing towards the wall, the water drips out onto the floor. And there's a drain in the floor, but the water drips onto the floor. Pools on the floor.
In front of the left sink.
So there's a lot there, and you just need you need to be careful when you're walking in the bathroom.
More like a waterfall. It's kind of interesting.
It is very interesting.
The water features, like the Aqua Theater in your room. Speaking of the Aqua Theater, what do you think of the show so far?
I loved it.
You love all the shows.
I do.
I've actually put together shows. I've run shows, so I know a little bit more than the average person in the entertainment industry. I think they're half done at best. I mean, there's some talented performers.
There are some very talented performers.
I just think their talents aren't being utilized to the best of their abilities. I really think that the guy that puts the shows together was given an ultimatum. He's like, you know what? Our stock's down. We just built this big ship. We haven't really made any money the last couple of years, so let's throw the show together with nothing. And I think that's admirable if he admitted that's what he's trying to do, but he's like, hey, we built this big show, brought the best of the best on here. And I think it's just mediocre at best. I don't think the talent's being utilized.
And there is no Broadway show yet on this show.
Well, they have that Jennifer Singer.
They have Jennifer Singer.
Who's promoted as a Broadway singer, who you think you'd hear all Broadway tunes. But then we hear Celine Dion, we hear Gloria Estefan, we hear people that she wishes were on Broadway. It's not really, I wish it was on Broadway show. It's supposed to be a Broadway show.
Yeah, she's got a beautiful voice.
She
though.
does have
She
a good
has
voice.
Beautiful
Her
voice.
talent's not being utilized to the best of her ability. What did you think of the
Voices?
voices?
I thought Voices was really good and clever.
It's clever.
It is clever. I don't think the dancers were absolutely necessary, but
Yeah.
the voices were beautiful and very clever the way they did it.
Now, there's only 6 voices there, right?
So what was the premise behind Voices? Were there instruments?
No, supposedly everything was done by mouth, and more than half of it was pre-recorded on the track.
Yes.
So to me, that's like a track act with somebody singing on top of it. I would have been more impressed if they had those people here on the ship actually beatboxing, doing the bass sounds, doing the trombone sounds, and whatever they were trying to emulate with their mouths. But I understand, being a producer, that it takes a lot of effort to change those sounds to make them sound like they're really instruments.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty impressive talent-wise, but again, it's not here. So I felt like we were slighted because the talent was recorded and not actually
Gotcha.
on stage. Like I expected this to be a live show.
What did you think of the ice show?
Ice show was good. It's probably the most put together show, but again, they're still building that as well.
Yeah.
But some really talented performers.
Very talented performers. Very
There's
talented.
one especially who really,
She just stood out.
she was phenomenal. I don't know what her name is.
Don't
but
know her name either.
The rest of them were good, very
Yes,
good.
yes.
But this one was just like, she outshone them all.
Yeah.
And it was obvious.
What about the other show? And I cannot think of the name right now.
I don't
Darn
know
it,
what
I can't remember the name.
Oh, the comedians. We saw the comedians.
No, we saw the comedians. They
One
were,
was an insult comedian, that Al, whatever his name
Yeah.
is. He's kind of an angry guy, picks on people in the audience. It's funny if you're not the person being picked on. He actually picked on, I think, someone that was an immigrant. He was making fun of the way she spoke.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't think that was cool.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. I mean, there's other things you could do as an insult. I worked with a lot of comedians, and this guy was just cherry picking. You know, he's just looking for the easy target, as most insult comedians do. The other guy, I forget what his name was.
I
He's
can't
just
remember the names.
unremarkable. He just wasn't that funny.
The guy who introduced them all was funny.
Yeah, actually, the host.
He was funny.
He was pretty funny.
was funny.
He should have been that headliner. I thought.
No, the show I'm trying to, I can't remember the name, but it's with the drums.
Oh, the drum show.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's not
Yeah, I
with
don't
drums,
remember.
it's actually with barrels. It's like Blue Man Group, slightly.
That's, it was like Stomp. The
Yes,
Stomp
it
type
was
show.
a tap.
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 Yeah. Again,
Yes.
very talented
Very
performers.
talented.
Drummer's really good. Everybody's in sync. The tap dancer's really good.
Funny.
It started with a premise, but we kept looking for a story that just wasn't there.
No,
You know what
I
I
don't.
mean? They just
I
kept
think-
doing things, and then they
yeah.
brought this guy Sven out, this guy that does handstands on ladders, which had nothing to do with the show
What about-
whatsoever.
what
he
about
didn't
the-
integrate in with it at all. And there was the guy with no bones,
Right. What's up
boneless
with-
guy who could do really some really interesting things
Amazing.
with his body.
Wow. I mean, that was
Actually
crazy.
unlock his shoulders or something.
It's the
It
craziest
was
thing I've ever
sick.
seen.
It was like a circus performance.
It was crazy.
Yeah. And the Aqua Theater show as well, just more of a showcase at this point. It hasn't really been put together. See, my point is I understand there's been quarantines and all kinds of issues, but you've had a couple of years to throw something together to a cohesive show. I just don't feel like they've done that here.
Yeah.
Again, very talented performers. Don't want to take away from them. It's just the people on top of them whose responsibility is to put together that show. They just haven't done their job, in my opinion.
What do you think about the Sweet Neighborhood?
Sweet Neighborhood's not really a neighborhood. I'm talking about 8 neighborhoods, and that is not really what's going on here. I'd say maybe there's 3 neighborhoods. There's Promenade, Boardwalk, Central Park. That's it
Okay.
for the neighborhoods. Everything else is a farce. There is no sweet neighborhood. There's really a floor with 2 sides, I think 2 floors, 17 and 18, which has the suite lounge, the coastal kitchen, and a suite deck. But that's not really a neighborhood, you know? It's just a couple
That's what
of
they.
features.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But it is nice. This.
it's cozy. It's nice, I guess. It's nice that they'd have all the suites in one
It's
place.
got like a spool up there.
Yeah, it's not really a pool, but it's like a private suites only pool. But I understand a lot of people who, like Diamond Plus and Pinnacles, can go up there too. So it's not really just suites like it used to be, which was nice. I mean, you pay extra for a suite. A lot of these Pinnacle people, the 100-year-old, I think it's the average age of a Pinnacle, 130.
Stop. You have to have 700 days on a cruise to become Pinnacle, and that's a
You're
lot
pretty
of
old to get
days.
700 days, right?
So.
So they pretty much have run of the ship, which is not fair because a lot of those people aren't spending a lot of money. We've talked to Pinnacles and Diamond Plus who are staying in inside rooms.
Yep.
At this point, they're not spending a lot of money on these
Yeah.
cruises. And people who are staying in suites are paying upwards of $5,000, $10,000.
Or more.
So they should have their own dedicated area.
Yeah.
You're spending that much money,
Yeah.
I think, you know what I mean? As somebody
Yeah.
who's booking a $200 inside room just to rack up points, I don't think they should have access to something that people are paying $10,000 for, you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
think it's fair.
Yeah.
You're paying for that privilege.
What was your overall opinion of the ship?
The ship, it's basically the same. I really wish they had done quite a few new innovations design-wise. But understanding this ship was originally built for the Chinese market.
Right.
And then at some point during the quarantine, they flipped their eyes and said, let's just bring it to America. So they've done some things in here that probably a little bit smaller for the American market, meaning the rooms aren't laid out the way, I don't think they're as opulent as the other Oasis class ships. You know what I mean?
I think you might be right, because we have seen the Grand Suite on one of the other Oasis
Yeah.
class ships, and it
It
was
seemed bigger.
big.
I don't know square
It's-
footage wise, it may not
Yeah.
be, but the layout had
the layout
separation.
was so, yeah, it had separation.
Yeah.
It was very different. There are curtains in the middle of this room that you could block off. What is the family room versus the master,
I mean,
if
it's
you want to call it that way?
curtains, though, you
It's
know.
curtains, so you could though block off
looks
maybe
like
the
a
kids on
Motel
one
6 a
side
little
and
bit.
oh, stop.
They could have done something better with that, but I understand that is what it is. It's not bad. It's not a bad room. But
It's
I
not.
think some of the changes they could have made, they could have done something different. I thought they should cover Central Park, get rid of that stupid elevator bar that has the worst
They
service on
still
board.
have that. What do you think about the Bionic Bar?
Bionic Bar is silly, waste of
No,
space.
it's fun.
too.
It's fun.
It's fun, but there's a lot of waste happening there.
It's
Like
interesting.
I went and poured 4 liquors in a drink that I didn't even drink just to mess around with it, and I see a lot of people doing the same thing.
It's
down
so
there.
wrong.
Yeah. But it's a huge amount of space, and I don't know, it's neat, but I don't think they need all that space. They could have done that in a little kiosk, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. They did. We've been on a couple other cruises since COVID, and they did finally bring back the pictures at night.
They do. They're
They
taking
do.
the pictures, which
Yeah.
is phenomenal.
Which is, yeah, they're
Especially if you have
wonderful.
the family together, it's a great way to get everybody together
Yeah.
and take. They do a great job with
They
the
do.
pictures.
They really do. They really do. Royal's fabulous at it.
Yeah. A little pricey, but not too bad.
Not too bad.
And your drink package, you do think you got your money's worth out of it?
I think so. I
Right,
think so.
again,
I think
we'll show you that video.
I think we factored the drink package. 6 drinks a day would cover the cost
6
of the drink.
mixed drinks at $13 a piece.
s- Would cover the cost of the drink package if you did that every day. Of course, you can get wine, you can get beer, you can get mixed drinks, foofy water. That's your
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
Coke,
Foofy water.
sodas.
So you're a water snob now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so we talked about the restaurants, talked about the ship, talked about the shows, the entertainment, the new Windjammer. So let's take a tour of Wonder of the Seas. We'll do it deck by deck. So we'll start all the way at the medical center, work our way up to the top. A lot of pools, a lot of fun stuff to do. Just about something for everybody.
Yeah.
Actually, in a week, it's hard to do everything on the ship because it's so big.
Yeah.
I have to say that the captain's talk, very interesting. You should attend that. He has a great sense of humor and a lot of knowledge. Very impressive.
Yeah. He was very interesting. Yeah.
Captain Rob.
Had a great
Rob
great
Hempstead,
personality.
Who is American,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool, so
Yeah.
you can understand him.
Yep.
Yeah. So
got
yeah,
a-
he's a lot of fun too.
Yep.
All right, let's take a tour of the ship.
All right. Let's do it.
So it seemed fitting that our seas were rough during the inaugural or debut or whatever they call this sailing of Wonder of the Seas. We looked like waves at like 6 to 10 feet, so it was pretty choppy. So we got on it. There was little fanfare. It was interesting because the captain met us on Celebrity's Edge when we got back. Captain Kate was there, but there was no captain to be found here. And I swear this guy in the red shirt, he sharted or farted. It just smelled. Look, they have matching bags. I just noticed that. It smelled terrible when I walked on, but I think it was him. So there's a little bit of a greeting. People seemed happy to see us there. And there was some champagne, which is nice. There were some nice little gifts and perks for this being the inaugural sailing from the United States. So we got a little bit of champagne. And we did a YouTube live here. Now, this is Deck 13, Room 666. I always stop here first because Satan's probably in that room. Who knows, all right? But I waited outside, and I don't think they sold that room this time around. The elevators are kind of wonky. Some of the buttons didn't work. So let's start the ship tour on 2. Our room wasn't ready, so we were bored. So the medical center is down here, just as it always is on most royal ships, on Deck 2. And we took a sneak peek. We're not supposed to go down here. It says employees only, but when the doors are open, you must walk through. And this is I-95, they call it, the corridor. And look how neat and new and clean it looks. Won't be that way for long. Deck 3, we're going to find the first floor of the 3-level main dining room. Opulence at its best. You're going to have a overblown, I don't know, Trumpish hotel casino kind of lights, and it's all LED now, so it's a little more well lit with the white light as opposed to the incandescent color. So that's nice. I mean, same deal. We don't go here anymore. I think only the noobs go to the main dining room anymore. But you can get most of the same foods in any of the other restaurants. Not much else on Deck 3, a bunch of rooms. Went back up to Deck 4, the Royal Theater you're going to find here. And again, despite it being a brand new ship, there are those poles everywhere. Obstructed views. They don't learn the second level. And the second level is VIP seating. And this bar, which is terrible, and this is on most Royal ships too. I thought they would have got smart and just put glass walls up there if you feel the need to have glass. But this bar, everybody's upset. Everybody hates sitting in that front row. But it's not just the front row. I mean, it's like the first 3-4 rows. You're going to see that stupid bar, and it's going to block your view. So the first show was kind of like a grease stomp kind of thing. You got a goofy guy, but there was no cohesive story in this thing. It was just a bunch of guys drumming, this guy doing some funny stuff, some antics, and he's never really accepted into the group. And he's kind of bullied during the whole show. That's what I thought. So he's kind of the goofball, but he's never really accepted in the end. But I failed to see the story, and a lot of other people I talked to didn't either. I mean, it's cute. These guys are super talented. And then this guy, this I think Russian guy, comes out and starts doing handstands for no reason. Has absolutely nothing to do with the show, with the continuity of the show. So I don't know where he would come out and do some acrobatic handstands and then just leave. Yeah, I didn't see what the comedy was. And then the goofy guy did some stuff. And look at this. They actually knock him off the ladder. Complete bullying right here. Right? So I don't know anymore. And then there's this guy too. He's the janitor supposedly. He doesn't speak any English, some kind of strange language, and never really says a word. And then he does this strange contortionist act where he like dislodges his shoulders or something, and then he's like walking like some alien being on the stage. And again, really cool, very neat talent. I'm not sure that many people can do this on this planet, but what it had to do with the Tap Factory show, I still have no idea. He didn't really integrate with the other performers and really do anything. It's not really tied together. You know, I feel like it was half done. Like some guy just threw a bunch of money at like a bunch of people and said, all right, just throw on this show. Just make people laugh or whatever. Could have been a comedy show. I don't know. But this guy was freaky. It was ugh. And then we moved on to the art. They're trying to sell this art all over the ship. And then there's this weird thing. I forget what this room is called, but they do some dance parties, and some of this art is really tweaked. You know what I mean? It's weird, but people like to buy art on cruise ships, I guess. If they didn't, I guess that's why they wouldn't sell. It's called the Attic. Rarely open, I think just late for dance parties. And here's Studio B on the complete opposite side of the ship. And this is where their ice rink is. They also do laser tag and some other stuff here. Now, the ice show was cute. It's called something like 365. I didn't really see much of a story here, but they're always got some really, really talented ice skaters, so that's nice. And they do project on the ice, which is, I guess, a little bit different for this ship. And not many props at all. I expected to see more props on this thing, but it wasn't here this time. But that's no big deal. Again, we see the poles in this theater, too, which there's a lot of obscured views. Now, Disney, and I think even Norwegian and some of their newer ships, and they do a great job of removing these poles and spending a little bit more money supporting the floors above it with girders or beams or something. I don't know how they did it, but these poles are ridiculous, especially in a ship built in 2022. Here's the Diamond Lounge where all the snuffy people, all the snooty people go, hey, you can't come in here. A lot of people ask us to take a flyby of the casino, all the typical games. And this was converted from a ship that was supposed to be deployed in China, so the tables are a little bit different, the slot machines are a little bit different, but you're going to find all your same games, your Texas Hold'em, your roulette, your blackjack tables, different tables with different minimum bets and all that fun stuff. The place gets really hopping at night. And we saw somebody's bill inadvertently, and they spent $30,000 in this casino charge to the room. They delivered their bill to our room, and it was unbelievable how crazy. I guess they make a lot of money on this casino. I don't know. There is a smoking section in the back. Towards the other end, I guess in the same end, is Izumi, which is the Japanese hibachi restaurant. Still very, very cool. They can do this on a cruise ship. Of course, don't ask for a volcano because they can't have fire here. But they do a really nice job considering it's an electric grill. The food's always good, and it's a little bit too much. The lunch is about, I guess it's about $10 left, and they do some neat tricks. I mean, if you've done it once, it's all the same stuff they've done before. There's really nothing new here. And I think they're all trained by the same guy and told what they can do and what they can't do. But still, it's a good time, and the food's really, really good. Of course, I had to try all the drinks, and we'll talk about later. Let's move up to level 5. Of course, the dining room ends on level 5. And you're going to find a lot of stuff to do on 5 because that's the Royal Promenade. You're going to find this robotic bar over here, which is in a different video. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. We'll talk about my experiment with the drink package. The stairs to level 6 and the schooner bar, and also the photography center and a place where you can book excursions. Your guest services is on 5 as well. And they do a real good job managing that line. There's a person at the beginning of the line that tells, hey, you really don't need to be in this line. Let me solve your problem while you're waiting. So that's great. Cafe Promenade, which is open, I think, 24 hours a day, and get coffee, sandwiches, snacks, desserts there. They have a Mustang, a random car sitting in the middle of the I don't know. Every one of their ships seems to have a car in the middle of it for some reason. I guess people like to take pictures with it or something. I don't know. A bunch of expensive foofy shops. You have your English/Irish pub. It doesn't have any food. It'd be really neat if it had Irish food in there, but they won't listen to me. Sorrento's Pizzeria, which I think is open till about 3 in the morning, almost about 11:30 in the morning. Pizza's pretty good there, to be honest with you. You can buy liquor, but you can't drink it on board. They will bag it up and deliver it to your stateroom the day you leave. And, a bunch of other foofy shops. And in the middle here, they have their little sales on their watches and all the stuff you really don't need, but you want to buy because you're so excited to be on a cruise. And there's this big, giant Monopoly Man hat in the middle of the other end of the promenade. I can't figure out. People were standing on it. And this poor guy was trying to wipe the shoe and heel marks off. I just felt so bad for him. And then there's Boleros, which is like a Latin-themed bar, and they do a little bit of line dancing, spotlight karaoke, and, of course, the Starbucks, which is not included in your drink package. You'll have to pay for those Starbucks drinks and snacks separately, but you can charge them to your room. Again, on the 5th floor, you have the stairs going down to what they call entertainment place. Leads you right off at the attic, or whatever that place is called. Also on 5, on the outside, is your walking and running track. So that's nice. That's right there, convenient. And there's a lot of neat little cubby holes out here. Suitable just to hang out and chill out, or if you're trying to hide from somebody. There's some inspirational messages on the top, as there are on most royal ships. These are neat, like these little hidey hole areas. Some of them have seats, some of them have ping pong tables, but you can just kind of chill out there and hide from the world and just listen to the ocean. They did have a couple service dogs on board, and this is where they do their business, supposedly. And I was surprised. I guess anybody can just bring their dog. I'm going to bring mine next time. Deck 6, you're going to find a spa with the overpriced massages and the haircuts and the pedicures and manis. And then you have the Vitality Cafe, where you can buy these juice drinks and all kinds of weird. You can put kale and just whoop it up with blueberries and whatever and just get weird. Again, a lot of these services are available to do a lot of stuff, and it's a real hard sell. So once you walk in there with a sales rep, man, they're going to try to sell you the world, and most people end up buying it. So we have done that our first time, and it's one of those things you kind of do once, and once you've cruised a couple of times, you kind of learn to avoid this place. Now, what's really weird is the gym is located behind the spa. So if you didn't know this, you would never know where the gym is. And you can freely walk through here, and though they kind of block your way, but this is the gym it's on. It's completely free. Anybody can use the gym. They do have 4 Peloton bikes if you're a Peloton snob, but they have other bikes as well, and treadmills. They have some machine weights. They also do have some free weights if you're into that as well. And it's really neat. There's a little staircase here that leads down to the jogging and running track. So you can come up directly to the gym from the running track. Here's your treadmills in the far remote corner here. You've got a little bit of free weights going on, so that's nice. And here's your Pelotons. 4 Pelotons for your Peloton snobs, and here's some Peloton snobs riding them. So yeah, if you need to absolutely have that Peloton, there it is. Deck 6, you can find the quarantine rooms. This made me a little nervous. I had to run through the hallway like a little girl there. And also in Deck 6, you'll find, against your photo studio, the shore excursions, if you want to book a shore excursion, which you should probably do before you get on, because I think they're cheaper and more available. The loyalty lounge, and where all the nerds hang out in the schooner bar. It's kind of it's like the loneliest, weirdest place on the ship, but there is a place for lonely, weird people called the schooner bar. All right, let's go to the boardwalk at the other end of deck 6. And of course, they have pictures of what a real boardwalk would look like. And this boardwalk looks nothing like any of those, but they do. They're on a cruise ship. They're doing the best they can. They've got a little merry-go-round in the middle, carousel, whatever you want to call it, with your little dog house, which is nice. You can get hot dogs certain times of the day. And a sports bar hanging out right there in the middle. Actually, this Playmaker Sports Bar is a lot of fun. It's a neat place with really good food. It is extra. You have to pay for your food there. There's a place called Sugar Shack, I guess is Sugar Beach, whatever it's called. And you can get candy and ice cream there, a gelato. That is also extra. You have to pay for that. But I don't know. I like sitting at Playmakers. It never really gets too crowded because the food inside here is not included in your package. You have to pay extra for this, and a lot of people who go on cruises are cheap and they don't want to do that, so you'll never really find a really busy. Here's Johnny Rockets right across the way. That was never busy for some reason either. And your slides, which all the way up on deck, I think 16, the sports area, terminate down here on this thing. Now, they're not water slides. They have little rugs you go through, and it's dark inside, so it's kind of weird. I was hoping they'd be lit up. I think they have LEDs, but that would make me nauseous, so I totally didn't do it. Then at the end, you're going to see your Aqua Theater. And your rock walls are right above that, too. You can get to those from deck 6 as well. We didn't see those operating too many times. It was a little windy. Maybe they shut it down. Who knows? But here's your Aqua Theater. And the Aqua Theater show, not really ready for prime time when we sailed. They had a guy on this tightrope, which had nothing to do with water. They had a juggler who was very good, nothing to do with water. And a lot of talented performers. But the show just was not ready. I think they showed the first 15 minutes. This is a neat little area near the rock wall where you can actually watch the Aqua Theater show from right up here if you can grab those seats early enough. Let's go to deck 8. Nothing much going on in 7. And on the other end of the ship, you're going to find Central Park. And they've actually got a living, functional park on this ship. Now, I was hoping on this redesign they would do something different, but they still have the cutouts where you can see the promenade below. Couple of stories down, and I just thought that was a big waste of space. I would really like to see that just covered, where you have a big grass place to hang out, some tables, where it actually looks like a park. Now it's like this, you gotta walk around these 2 giant domes that come out of the middle of nowhere that you can't really see through during the day. Look kind of neat at night, but not a lot of people out here at night. You're gonna find Giovanni's Wine Bar and the Italian restaurant. It's not the other Italian restaurant that I can't mention on here that you'll find on some other Oasis-class ships, but same kind of fare there. We ate there a couple of times. Not really impressed. Not really traditional Italian. I think they just put an Olive Garden on these ships. That's my idea. And then you have the Park Cafe, which is nice. You can get bagels and baked goods and sandwiches and things in there. So that is pretty good. Of course, Giovanni's, I think, $150, and Chops Grill is also out here in Central Park, but those are not included with your meal deals. And you have to pay extra for these. These are a la carte or extra. You can buy a meal package or whatever. Neat looking places, very, very cool to eat at your first time. But once you're done them, you're like, it's like everything else. You can get the same food in the Windjammer basically, or in one of the other restaurants. They got these spacemen all over the place. I'm not sure what the spacemen have to do with anything. Maybe Royal Caribbean's planning to take some ships into orbit. Who knows? So they're getting people ready subtly for that. I'm not sure. And then some covered areas, which is nice because it does rain once in a while and it gets kind of yucky and you got to kind of run through. They have their onboard horticulturalists and people taking care. They do a really good job manicuring this stuff, and it's going to grow up very nicely. Didn't see many butterflies in Central Park like I've seen on some of the older ships, but I guess they will come in time like everything else. And then there's this other cutout too, another waste of space. They have this goofy elevator which travels between Central Park and the Promenade on level 5. This is Chops Steakhouse where you can eat outside. It is covered. You're not really eating outside, but that's kind of nice too, especially at night. And again, these restaurants are really good. Chops has some of the greatest steak on any cruise ships we've ever had. They do a great job with it. They also have some seafood stuff as well. And this goofy bar that goes up and down very slowly, which in my opinion is just not great service, and it's slow and it's a pain. You got to ride it all the way up, and I'm like, this has been done. Let's get rid of this. Let's free up some space up here, in my opinion. But and also it runs on Windows and it needs a reboot. It looks like Windows 95. What's going on with that controller? Come on, this is 2022. All right, so yeah, this is the end of Central Park. So it's a pretty big area. Again, a nice place to chill. Unfortunately, we could hear a lot of noise down here from the band that was playing upstairs on the 15th or 16th deck. Not as quiet as it usually is on some of the other ships because the configuration is a little bit different on this ship. But still, nonetheless, a great place to hang out, especially in the morning and a little bit later at night when it's dark. It lights up really, really well. And this is interesting. I think way up on this deck, you can kind of see the entire promenade deck. You can see the goofy hat, and they lined this up perfectly so you can see the stupid car on the promenade as well. I don't know. Somebody, you know, if you like Mustangs or old cars, you can see it perfectly from upstairs. And you go, ooh, look, Mustang. All right, so let's go. Oh, notice, remember, there's no floor 13. They skipped in 2022. People are still superstitious. And again, this is room 666 on deck 13. They just call it deck 14. A little bit further up, you're going to find the place where people take their kids on cruise and pay a lot of money and never see them most of the time. They throw them, drop them off in this place, in this kids area. And they have some of the scariest women I've ever seen here. I mean, they're just like, you know, you're not going to mess with them, so you know your kids are going to be safe. They're brutes, for real. But that's good. They do a great job with kids. We dropped our kids off when they were younger, too. Not for the entire cruise like some of these knuckleheads do, but this is a game room, and for some reason they had these, I don't know if the rooms aren't ready, but they've got these signs up saying private whatever, and you just ignore that. Just walk in. There's just one dude. He's like, yeah, I just passed it up. Let's go up to 15. A lot going on deck 15. You've got this goofy bar over here, which supposedly lights up at night, and there's supposed to be a light show on the top, from what I understood, which didn't work. Just I'm like, hey, you got a light show? Can you show us? He's like, no light show. I didn't know what that meant. I don't think he understood me, but I don't know. So the rest of it, we're going to find all the pools and stuff on deck 15. A lot of places to sit. I don't think we ever ran up here where we ran out of chairs. Do you know what I mean? This cruise wasn't completely filled up. I think it was about 60%. Might have been a little bit more. Security always on the lookout for Tim, and they always find me, and I spent a little time in the brig, and that was interesting. Here's the kids area, too. A lot of stuff for kids to do on the deck if you actually want to spend some time with your kids. The other end of the ship, you're going to find the Solarium Bistro, which I think has been redesigned. I haven't been in one of these in a while, but it might be the same as the other ships. It felt more enclosed here. And this big table for VIP and opulence, you could sit here if you wanted to during the buffet hours, get breakfast up here. And the solarium feels a little bit more open. And I did note that it felt cooler in here. They have some kind of new ventilation system where they actually have balloons in those glass panels up there, which wick away the heat and insulate the sun from coming in, yet still leave it nice and bright with one of the best views on the ship. You do have to sign out towels, which is weird because not like you're going to steal them. Where are you going to go? You jump in the ocean with it, but I guess towels are a big loss center, so you do have to sign them out down here. At the solarium, a lot of places said I did find it was hard to find a chair in the solarium later in the day, especially on sea days, because people will come down here at 6 in the morning. You're not supposed to reserve chairs, but people do. And supposedly they're supposed to take the towels off of them and give them back, but they never do. So get there early because someone else will, especially if you have a favorite place. And a lot of people just camp out here on sea days. Not really much in terms of pools. There are several spas. And, yeah, you're going to find several spas up there in the solarium. Sprinkles is its self-contained ice cream. It's no longer this mobile thing they roll around. And this was kind of weird, too. On this is 15, I think. They have this area where you can watch the movie across Central Park on these really uncomfortable benches with no back support. And people were complaining that the sound wasn't loud enough. They couldn't hear it as being drowned out by other music in the band or whatever. So I don't know if you want to watch a movie up there. It's up to you. I don't think it's going to work out, but, you know, fun place just to hang out and take some pictures with another spaceman because of Royal Caribbean in space, of course. And the Mason Jar is also in 15, just outside the Windjammer. It used to be a Chinese-themed restaurant, but they converted it in a couple of weeks to this goofy place called the Mason Jar. And they don't have a lot of Mason Jars for drinks. I was disappointed. They should have all Mason Jars, right? They're saying, oh, we just got started on this, and our order didn't come through. They had a country band in here. It was kind of weak. They weren't really good, but again, another last-minute decision from what I'm hearing. I'm giving you lots of excuses, Royal, here. This is what I heard. So A couple of places to sit and hang out here. You can just come to the bar and order some of their weird drinks. They have drinks with bacon in them and smoke, and they've done a nice job on the drink menu. Not my cup of tea, get it? And not much that comes in mason jars, but this could change as time goes on. And it looks kind of like Cracker Barrel, doesn't it? I think that's what they're going for with the wall designs and the menu here. It's kind of weird. We did eat there one night. Wasn't blown away by it. It was bland. You know what I mean? Cute little... They have mason jars for the water. They do have that, but not so much for the drinks. I thought they should just move those over to the drinks. Just put regular glasses on the table for us. So you had to buy something if you wanted a mason jar, right? And you can't keep them. So here's the menu. You can look all this stuff up on Royal's website and find everything they're doing. Here's that goofy bacon drink. It was terrible. Here's a cheese spread. Very bland chicken pot pie. I was disappointed in that, unfortunately. And they had ribs, which were kind of bland. And the mac and cheese was probably the worst I've ever had. This is not Kraft mac and cheese, okay? I'm kind of low end, so that's what I expect. Lime and the coconut also up here on 15. There's like 3 of those locations. One's on the smoking section and the new redesigned Windjammer Cafe, which kind of splits out left and right, which is really neat. They're not playing the Wash Your Hands song anymore. And this is the only bar that is open in the morning up here in the Windjammers. If you're looking to get your drink on, take advantage of that drink package, this is the only place you can go. And I think it opens at like 6:30 in the morning, 6:30 or 7. And again, split left and right. Usually one side's closed unless it's prime time, and then they open both up. I thought they had less food stations in the Windjammer. I thought that the traditional Windjammer had a lot more to choose from, but it might just be the way it's laid out. It's probably about the same. It was hard to tell. But I thought there was a lot more Indian food and less of the other foods. There wasn't much of Asian selections. There wasn't much Italian. There was always like hamburgers and hot dogs here. And one night they even had lobster. They had lobster and shrimp. That was really nice. But probably because this was a debut cruise. Real big bakery, lots of sweets. You get your carbs on. And this is where you can get donuts and you can get bagels and your schmear and a lot of smoked salmon here. It's interesting. They had squid ink salmon. I can't imagine what that's going to do to your teeth, so I avoided that. And they have beets on it too, which is another heavy-duty dye. But you can get your Egg McMuffins and your toast and your stuff over here. Very, very nice bakery. Everything's really good and always fresh. Up on 16, a deck higher, you're going to find El Loco Fresh. And you're going to find their goofy zip line, which apparently does not have a weight limit. So you can just jump on this thing, and it's actually the most boring zip line in the world. But it's on a cruise ship, so that is impressive. They do have defibrillators just in case you get a little too hyped up on that zip line, so that's nice. Their mini golf was it was cute. Disappointed because it was not lit up at night. Now at Hooked, which is also up here, you're gonna find the messy fish sandwich, which wasn't great. And then I had the captain's platter. The lobster was great, and actually the macaroni and cheese has lobster in it too. That was very good at Hooked. All right, we're moving up to the suite neighborhood. This is the suites only lounge. And unfortunately, it's right above the basketball court, so that can get kind of noisy when they're having basketball tournaments or pickleball tournaments or whatever else. You have kids down there just yelling stuff. Not the greatest place, in my opinion, to put a suite lounge. It's pretty big, plenty of places to sit. They get these little cubby holes. We did see a lot of soot come from the engines because it's in the back of the ship. Never a good idea. We also saw that on Norwegian. It was a terrible mistake, but I thought they'd have this problem worked out on a new ship. It's got its own bar. It's nice. JR at the bar is taking care of you there. Very, very good service. Impeccable service up here. These people are awesome. Actually, all over the ship. Some of the best service I've ever seen on a cruise. They probably pulled their best and brightest from other ships. And this is not really a pool. It's kind of like you sit on these god-awful hard loungers, which are not comfortable at all. Or you can get into this hot spa, which has a clear thing so people can look at whatever they're looking at if they turn around and see things they probably don't want to see from most of us who take cruises. There's no six-packs on here, okay? Or very few. Probably the staff only. But it's a neat place to just kind of hang out. You know, not much. I was hoping there was a big pool or something a little bit more majestic, somewhere where you could actually do some laps, but there's not. There's actually not many places on the ship where you can actually swim. Here's the soot we talked about on the suite lounge, and Unfortunate. Par for the course. They tried to keep up with it the best they could, but yeah, there's a bunch of it out there, and it's going to do some damage to light-colored bathing suits and clothes, so be careful with that. It's charcoal. Here's the rest of the suite neighborhood, they call it, which is essentially a couple of hallways. Not much of a neighborhood, really. I mean, you're looking at some walls. And you have random homeless guys that have no idea where they're going, who just sneak in through the doors and take advantage of the bar situation up there in the suite lounge. This is a grand suite. This is supposedly one of their biggest and best rooms. Well, that's kind of lower end on the suite end of it, but it's a different configuration than on the other Oasis class ships. I think you have a border in the middle and a little more separation. There's no walk-in closet. I've seen some junior suites on other ships that have walk-in closets, but the closets there's 3 of them here, and they're kind of distributed, and there's not much room to hang long dresses, so you're going to have to use that little sliver on the left. Bathroom's kind of nice. They did have a hang-up with the shower here, because I don't think in the Asian market, I'm not sure if they take showers, but it seems they retrofitted a shower in here because the door is on the outside of the tub. And every time you take a shower, as we talked about before, it leaks all over the floor. And also, we ended up bumping our arms on these things. There's not a lot of room. It looks big, but you end up bumping your arms and creating bruises on your arms from just trying to move around regularly in there. A little bit of storage here and medicine cabinets, which is nice, so you don't have to hang your ghetto stuff on the door like you do in the smaller rooms. And this is that door we're talking about here. So you open this thing up. Even if you don't open it up, it's going to leak all over the floor, cause a potentially slippery situation. And that's why I guess the drain is right outside the bathtub. So that left sink is essentially unusable when somebody's taking a shower. And this is your room separation here. It's like you're in an RV or something. So yeah, there's not a lot of privacy here if you have somebody sleeping out there in the living area of your suite. This is kind of cool. I thought this was interesting. Not my favorite design. It was kind of mixed reviews of people we talked about. Some people loved it. Some people just thought it was nouveau. Some people hated it. They'd rather have a TV on the wall. Because if you do get up real quick and walk around it, you could bang your head on this thing. But it pulls out right on top of the bed. And it was a pretty good angle, I guess. If you're in the right direction, you can kind of see it. It's a little higher than usual for on the wall. It's more of a direct line of sight. And it goes up and down. It's kind of weird, though. Anytime it detects like a loss of signal, like when you're switching channels, sometimes it'll try to close itself. So that was kind of a pain. I hope they figure out the software on that. You can actually hide stuff up there. No one ever know it's there. And the patio's pretty good size. I thought the furniture, there's a little too much furniture out there. You know what I mean? You got 4 seats and a table, and then you've got 2 loungers, and we just ended up pushing everything over to the side to make a little bit more room. We're not really going to use this table. It was really windy out there, and just not a great place to eat on choppy, windy days, you know what I mean? But a great place to lounge and chill out. Very, very quiet on this end of the ship. I know some people towards the main area were complaining that the noise from the band on deck 15 was permeating their room, but we didn't hear anything but ocean over here. And this is a little bit closer to the coastal kitchen and suite lounge. So this was really, really nice. Noise-wise, didn't hear much at all. And this is back on the inside of the suite. So that's our tour and overview of Wonder of the Seas, the largest cruise ship in the entire universe. Now, subscribe to this channel. I've got a couple other things going on. We'll talk about the shows and the excursions right here on this channel. Thanks for watching.